What's going on, everybody? This is Rob from the Big Homie Rob podcast. I come to you this evening. Man, I just seen the most startling shit on YouTube. Now, I usually just be browsing YouTube. I like to be in. Sometimes I like to be entertained. I like to, look at stuff on how to work on my motorcycle and stuff like that. But there was something that came across the, you know, the refreshing screen, the main page, whatever you want to call that, and it was on the Big Facts podcast. So big shout out to him for having this information on his podcast, because this is the first time I had ever seen that, and I like the information that he brought out. So shout out to that dude. Subscribe to him. If you like what you hear on my podcast, go ahead and subscribe to me. Like, share, subscribe. Comment, the whole nine. But I just seen, like I said, the most startling shit. There was a white man that went out and purchased a few $1,000 mask, and it looked just like a black man. And that man went out, robbed banks, and the whole nine with this mask on, and it was on Crime Stoppers, the whole nine, and the police went, there was phone calls and all that stuff to the police saying, that guy lives on my street. I seen that guy lives on my street. They went, knocked on the door. The guy's mom answers the door and says, "I know why you're here. It's my son. It's him. He did it." I guess she was like, "You ain't gonna sit here and take me to jail on aiding and abetting a fugitive of justice." So she went ahead and dimed him out. Now, granted, I in a way I get it, because she like, shit, you ain't about to risk my safety. You're not about to risk my life. You're not about to risk my freedom staying up in my house, doing all this heinous shit out in the streets and what have you. But the trip thing is that, like I said, it was a white guy in a mask that looked just like this guy. And the only way they found out was that his girlfriend obviously came up. I didn't finish watching the video. I immediately stopped watching the video and decided I needed to go ahead and put this on my podcast. Go ahead and put my information out there, because this is crazy. And the reason why I say that it's crazy, what stops other white men from doing the same thing? Now, I know, it's not a real classy subject, but at the same time, as me being a man of color, I can only help but to think that way, because it's like, you could say you can go out here and get a mask that was made of you off of a picture that was taken you at the DMV. Which, you sitting still, close up picture, high res cam, so that they make sure that they got a good picture. And now they got a picture of you, and then now they can just go out here, get a mask made of you, and now you got an epidemic on your hands of white men out here caught doing these crimes and it look like you. And 9 times, that's probably the rare occurrence of that man's girlfriend being as conscious as she was, probably came across this mask, saw it, noticed that it looked like that person that was on Crime Stoppers, and said, "You know what? That was him doing all of this crap." She probably came across the mask, the money, the whole nine. And of course, he wasn't sharing it with her. Not at the moment. He was probably going to come up with an elaborate scheme. Now, I don't know if he was a successful man. Like I said, I didn't finish watching the video. But I am going off of what I saw initially that startled me enough to stop the video and to podcast this. Okay? Because, like I say, you can have an epidemic of people out here getting black men's faces made into a mask, lifelike, and going out here and causing these heinous crimes, killing police, killing people, robbing banks, just going on and just doing any kind of heinous act imaginable. So when I sit back and I think about it, and I say, man, just another thing that somebody has done that just hate black people so much that they just can't they just can't help themselves but to demonize the black man by going out here and robbing banks. Now, I ain't gonna say, black men ain't never robbed a bank. I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say black men ain't never done heinous shit. But there's white men that's done heinous shit. There's Asian men that done heinous shit. There's Hispanic men that have done heinous shit. You think that this is not gonna stop? It's not gonna stop until people start to wise up and understand that eventually it's gonna catch up to you. It's going to catch up to you. That dude was probably out here having a field day. He probably had hundreds of thousands of dollars and wasn't really showing it. Wasn't really, like I said, I didn't finish watching the video, but he probably wasn't blanging out. He probably didn't have the ill car. He probably had a real conservative car, had a decent job, but not that job that was bringing in the elaborate amount of cash that he probably had at that moment. And where she just came across it, that in that mask, he was probably straightening up the place, and he just got caught slipping, but he didn't think his lady was going to dime him out. I think, he felt like, shit, I'm white, she white, what I'm saying? We got all this money. She just need to hear the plan out, and then we can let me do what I do until I get caught or killed, let me do what I do. And once I got this, exorbitant amount of cash together, we can retire. We can go. You can quit your job and quit my job. We did it. Somebody else got locked up for it, and what have you. But so how often has this happened? That somebody went out and did some raping with a black mask on, did, whatever with a black mask on, This is, like I said, this is the first. That wasn't on the mainstream news. That was not on the mainstream news that I saw it. I didn't see it on my news in my local area. I did not see that. So, it had to be, I had to see it on a platform such as YouTube, which is like, how much other information. Now, granted, I'm one of those guys that consider themselves to be woke. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'm out here, I'm reading, I'm looking at stuff. I'm looking at stuff that people don't want to look at because they say, oh man, I'm scared. I'm scared. If I look at that, that makes me scared. But then I sit back and say to myself, okay, what's wrong with waking up and understanding these things can happen? But I get it. We've been put in the world of make believe. We've been taught, oh man, you can make believe. Let's make believe we did this. Let's make, as a kid, let's make believe this. I used to play with my friends all the time, and we used to play in his backyard, and, his father was somewhat of a scavenger and had all this kind of stuff in his backyard and all the stuff that we could play with, and we always used to sit back and say, yo, let's make believe. Let's make believe. Let's make believe. Let's make believe. And that was all the time. And now you got these girls. We just gonna play make believe tea parties, make believe I'm a princess, make believe this, make believe that. So when you grow up, you still feel like you in that world of make believe. So nobody want to hear the truth. I was listening to a podcast. No, it wasn't a podcast. I was watching a video on YouTube, very informative. Never heard of this guy before, and he has said what I'm telling you now. And the video is titled "The Truth Is Unbelievable." I think that's what the name of that video is called, and I forgot the name of that gentleman, but but look it up. If you hear this podcast and you get a chance to, and you like what you hear and all this kind of stuff, I'll drop, little seeds and stuff like that. It's your choice to pick that seed up, or a little breadcrumb. Either you can plant that seed, or you can eat that bread, or you can just let both of those two pieces of nourishment mold and forget about it. So when you look at it, it's almost like, the black man, used to be you had, a few strikes against you. Now they just adding these strikes. They just adding these things onto us. What can we do to get rid of this black man? I am not a racist. Far from it. Some of my closest friends, okay, or let me say this, some of my really, really good friends, not my closest friend, but my really, really good friends are white guys. You know, white guys that I've worked with, we hung out with, we broke bread with, we drank with, we smoked together. You know, we did a whole lot of stuff together. You know, so it's not like, you know, and he looked out for me. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, they looked out for me, and it was never a bit of, oh well, he a black guy, or he a nigga, or I never heard them words come out. I hear the word nigga come out of the Hispanics' mouths so fast, but that's them talking to each other. You know, that's them talking to each other, looking at each other. Oh nigga this, oh nigga that. You know what I'm saying? There's a dude that stay right over here by me. You know what I'm saying? Where he always in and out of jail, and I hate that, and I talk to him, and I try to counsel him the best I can, but at the same time, he does not want to hear it because he has been, I don't know, I want to say he has been brainwashed to think that being a thug is cool. I don't know where he thought. I ain't never wanted to be a thug. I ain't never sold drugs a day in my life. Maybe I had a fat sack and somebody was like, "Yo, man, you'll sell me a gram." Okay, that don't make me a drug dealer. That don't make it an intent to sell because that ain't the amount that they look at. They say you got a nice a nice amount of whatever. And with the intent to distribute, that's what they're gonna charge you with, straight up felony. But at the same time, I ain't never done nothing like that. But at the same time, I never thought that being a thug was cool. I never thought that, but it's a lot of people out here that think that being a thug is cool. And so here it is. Now you got white guys out here, buying masks and going out here and doing thuggery with black masks on because guess what? That's what they say black men are, are prone to be, dealing with thuggery. It depends on the area. It depends on how you was raised. I had, mom, it was just my mom. She did it. Well, my grandparents too, but it was my mom who did all the raising of me and my brother, and she did a wonderful job because we turned out damn good, so I look at it like this whole heinous act that I just witnessed on YouTube. How long has it been going on? And when is it gonna really start to catch on to where we need to really be on our guard? There's so much that we got our eyes closed on that we thought that would never happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sitting back when I saw that investigator's face after he realized what had happened, like the wool was, brought over his eyes. I mean, the dude had a mask and gloves. But then, when I was looking at the Big Facts podcast, it was another dude. He was a white guy. You could see clearly. He said, I don't have the brown makeup on, so you could still see his eyes and his eyelids and all of that kind of stuff. And he had gloves. He had gloves that he had made. They was all the way up to his forearms of black, black skin, brown man's skin, a black man's skin. Oh my God, what that is world? Well, I already know the world was, I already was in a way. So I just wanted to go ahead and throw this out there, for all black men out there, for anybody of brown color that's being hated on, discriminated against and stuff like that. There's going to be a time that those people, and we know who those people are, those people are going to get fed up with us and they're going to come after us by any means necessary. I'm not a proponent of going out here and being violent. But protect your household. That's all I can say. Protect your household. Protect your belongings. When you're out in the streets and you're driving, protect your family. Protect yourself. There is so much hate for no reason because I ain't done nothing. But I told my son, I said, when you get older, there's going to be people that don't like you. There's a lot of people that don't like your daddy. They see your daddy and I ain't done nothing to nobody. I'm a peaceful dude. I stay to myself. I come to work. I go home. You know what I'm saying? I go to work. I come home. I work out. I relax. I cook my own food. I take care of myself, the whole nine, and And the whole thing of it is I told my son, there's people out here that don't like your daddy. And he